Folks, what you're about to see, folks, what you're about to see has gone viral today, Saturday, January 24th, for all the wrong reasons. You don't want to go viral for horrible things happening. And unfortunately, that has been too often the case with things coming out of Minneapolis in Minnesota. Thankfully, there are some brighter moments, like what happened yesterday and over the course of the past month. We've seen protesters turn out in unbelievable numbers. In fact, just last night, there was a there were thousands upon thousands of Minneapolis residents and Minnesotans that turned out in the middle of a strike to voice their opposition to the invasion by our own federal government of their neighborhoods, of their communities by ICE. Now, ICE, their stated mission is to go after the worst of the worst, but as has been voiced by Mayor Fry, um, so far this year, there have been homicides, three homicides by shooting, two of which have been committed by ICE. That's right. ICE has committed 67% of the murders in Minneapolis. That is insane. That's absolutely insane. What happened today is yet another tragic incident where an overly aggressive and underly trained force of thugs, leftovers from January 6th, took the life of an American citizen. So by now, unless you're just waking up, for the day, by now you may or may not have seen what I'm about to show you. I'm going to share it nonetheless because, unlike the Renee Good video, which is still, in my opinion, that Renee Good shooting is incontrovertible. I mean, it's obvious that the ICE agent was in no danger of being mowed down by a car. But the Trump administration officials like Kristi Noem and Greg Bovino have already circled up and they've gotten their talking points down, written on a piece of paper that they both read verbatim and lied about this shooting that happened today. And let me just go here. This is one perspective from the possibly from the woman in pink. I want you to pay. I'm going to pause this for a second to bring your attention to the woman with the orange backpack. She is at the center of the incident that transpired. She was shoved for no reason by an ICE agent who then proceeded a second later to start pepper spraying her and the shooting victim, Alex Pretti. There's Alex right there with he's got his hat on. He's motioning for cars to come on by with one hand, one empty hand, and with the other hand, he's not brandishing a pistol. He's holding his phone.
Go. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Okay, so I'm going to pause right there. There's where that ICE agent just shoved the woman with the orange backpack. Let's go. And he immediately started spraying Alex Pretti in the face. His hand that is raised is empty. as I'll show from a different angle from another video we have. Um, the woman with the orange backpack is on the ground now, whom Alex is now going to attempt to help up with pepper spray in his eyes. This guy, who is a nurse, is doing what his calling was to save people. There he is. His concern is not for any ICE agents. He's not, if he was going to shoot somebody, you know what's going to happen. He's going to have that in his hand already. If he's got a gun on him, he knows where it is. If his intent was to go there, as Kristi, Noem, and Greg Bovino lied about, if his intent was to cause mass mayhem and destruction, he would have already had gun in hand. His pretext is already there. Now, the guy who is spraying him is yanking him off of lady with orange backpack, yanking him off, excuse me. Now he is surrounded by a mob of ICE agents. This is no longer, him dealing with the spray in his eyes, him trying to help up a fellow human being. Now he's being pounced upon.
People, what the fuck is wrong with you?
They now have him down. He's down. He's not a big guy. You can see he's slight. He's probably 150 pounds soaking wet.
Honestly.
Okay. And we know what happened there. So that is the part that is in dispute. The part that's in dispute is who prompted the shooting, whether or not he was reaching for his gun, which he wasn't, and I'll show you why in a minute, because he didn't have his gun on him, because Alex Pretti was already disarmed, and he was disarmed not by that person. I don't know where that came from. Hang on. Let's go. Wait, where the hell? What is this? Excuse me. Let me take that down. We have some clearly have some technical difficulties here. That's not the right one. 606. What do you know? Oh, cancel. Sorry. It appears that I have the wrong file up. This is live, in case you guys didn't know, folks. This is happening live. Here we go. Let me close this because it won't open if it's. Okay, while I'm waiting for that to load, let's just see who. Yeah, Erica says we cannot see anything at all. My bad. Yeah, it's not up yet. But my point is, if you look at any angle of this video, you see Alex Pretti not holding a gun. You see him not making any aggressive movements towards any ICE agents. You see him trying to block pepper spray from going into his eyes, and at the same time trying to help a woman up off the ground. And you see him surrounded, descended upon, and then struck. We get somebody watching live from Italy. Welcome. Wow, it's USIT. Robert D says they planted a gun on him. I think it's possible. Erica says they murdered him. Okay, so we got this thing up now. Let me close this. So On the screen in front of you, you should see an ICE agent leaving the melee, leaving the scrum of Alex Pretti being pounded by a group of ICE agents. And in this guy's right hand is a pistol, is a gun identified as a SIG. Let me see, what the hell was this thing called? I have it here somewhere. Here we go. Clear image shows that the firearm removed from the scuffle by an agent prior to the shooting in Minneapolis was almost definitely the victim's SIG P320, meaning he was unarmed when shot by agents with Border Patrol and Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. Now, I know what some of you Trump bootlickers are thinking right now. Oh, that's Photoshop, or oh, that didn't happen in the sequence that you say it happened. Well, thankfully, we have a lot of internet sleuths that have been poring over video of this frame by frame by frame, and they've been finding different video with different angles that will support the notion that Alex Pretti was disarmed moments before gunshots rang. And it was, some people are saying it was a total of 14 shots. I've heard 10 people, I've heard 10 shots were taken. In any case, this guy was executed in broad daylight. So let's go back. Let's find that video, shall we? This is it right here. Okay, so this is yet a different angle, what I'm about to share with you. And the person who recorded this was kind enough to stop, and he's going to stop. When he stops, it's the purpose is to show you the agent who ends up walking away with the gun. So here it is. There. So they freeze framed it, and I'm just going to pause it right here to show you the guy with the beige jacket. It's the only beige jacket on the screen right now. He's second from the right of the screen. Let's go. Mind you, this guy seems to have a very specific purpose or intention. I could be reading into this a little bit too much, but he doesn't appear to be interested in engaging in this scrum and getting a hand or a leg or an ankle of the victim. He's looking. There he goes. He's going to the right. He just kicked something out of the way. Mind you, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I just saw something bounce out of there on the ground. I don't know what it is, but the dude is now in there. He dove in there. He's looking for the gun or a gun or something. And there he goes. There he goes. There's the gun. Grabbed it 2 seconds, 2 or 3 seconds before the gunshots popped off. Now, you know, I'm more of a skeptical nature, me personally. I'm not a guy who you know, I guess you could call me a conspiracy theorist, right? But this is not a conspiracy. I'm not asking you to believe something that's not right there in front of your eyes. But Kristi Noem and Greg Bovino want you to believe that what you just witnessed from multiple angles, I'll show you a different angle. I'll show you a different angle. We have so many different angles here. Let's go back. Have a different angle. Hang on. Let me just go to my page here. Here's a different angle. Did you see his open hand? Let me play it again. Right there. He's got his phone in his right hand, and his left hand is not brandishing a weapon. He is trying to block the spray from going into his eyes. He probably failed miserably because that dude is just pressing on the spray nonstop. I just realized that this is the exact same angle that we were just watching. I'm pretty sure I have different angles here. But the point is, you don't need 20 different angles to see what we just saw. But let's hear one angle that Kristi Noem is talking about here.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm.
So hold on. She's saying he approached them. Is that what you guys saw? Because that's not what I saw. I did not see him approach them. I saw them shove a woman in his vicinity. And as he was attempting to help her, the ICE agent approached him with spray already engaged.
Semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted to deliver medical.
All right. Let's this is a bunch of bullshit. And I watched Greg Bovino say almost the exact thing verbatim. So it's a prepared statement. It's almost like a legal statement that they prepared. Do you guys recognize that? They're saying he approached them. Again, probably the exact same statement that they're reading. Defensive shots. So the guy wasn't even armed anymore. Wasn't armed. Mind you, he had a permit, a license to carry his weapon. We will get back to that in a minute. Go figure. Used to be a time when you could survive being shot 14 times. So a lot of hay has been made out of the fact that he was armed and that he had two, not one, but two, what do you call those things? Two clips to hold his ammo. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're carrying a gun and you have no ammo, then what is it? It's just it's just decoration. It's worthless, right? A gun with no ammo is completely worthless. So there's a picture of the gun right there. But even this, that apparently ICE had offered up as this is his gun. No, this was up on Reddit 5 days ago. So this is not a picture of the pistol that the agent took, moments after the guy was killed. No, this is a different SIG P320. That's the guy who confiscated the gun. We probably will never know. But let's get back to this this notion that that Alex Pretti was carrying a pistol. So shout out to all of those pro Second Amendment characters who say, "Oh, I need my gun. I need it to defend against a tyrannical government." Oh, really? Well, the tyrannical government is upon us right now. The tyrannical government is violating your First Amendment rights to protest, because now they're calling protesters domestic terrorists. That's what protesters are right now. If you are protesting, they have deemed you a terrorist, which I guess, if they think you're a terrorist, they're going to act accordingly, which is to deny you of your right to protest, which they see as terror. But that protest, that right to protest, that right to film their actions, all protected, baby. So if they are denying you that right, they are the bad guys. Fourth Amendment, the right against unreasonable search and seizure of property. They need a warrant to crash into your house, to use a battering ram to gain access and drag you out onto the street. That's against the Fourth Amendment. The 14th Amendment. Let's talk about the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment also protects you against arrests based on your race or your color or whatever. And that also includes profiling you racially profiling you. They have even racially profiled Minnesota police. They're off duty, but they're still police. They have detained and arrested U.S. citizens because of their accent. In fact, earlier today, I created and posted a video. This was before the shooting, before the third shooting of the month. I created a video, and I'm going to share that with you. Hang on. I'm going to share that with you right now. And it's called "ICE is the Worst of the Worst." Change my mind. Prove me wrong.
What's your name? Jonathan Aguilar Garcia. I'm not a U.S. citizen. I'm not a U.S. citizen.
Why are you kidnapping our citizens? Why are you?
This guy right here, they let him out of the vehicle. They tortured him. This guy right here, yeah. You okay, man? No, I'm not okay. Oh, it's crazy. My man's bleeding. Bleeding. They slammed me on the ground.
Get up my police before I'm disabled, so I can put a doctor up there. That's what
She said, I've been beat up by police before. I didn't move because I'm disabled and I'm going to my doctor.
Why are you asking me for my paperwork?
Because of your accent.
You have an accent too.
Where were you born, sir?
Where were you born at? Put your hands behind your car.
Ramon Monero was detained by U.S. Border Patrol agents.
But then it's also like, yeah, what ICE is doing, like fucking shooting that lady seems kind of crazy. You know, like grabbing people that happen to be American citizens and fucking dragging them out onto the snow and asking them for their papers. That seems kind of fucking crazy too.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, Joe Rogan. That does seem kind of crazy. And if only we could have seen it coming. It is literally what he promised to do. It is literally what thousands of hateful, is the only way I can describe them, hateful so-called Americans waved their placards during his hate rallies and said mass deportation. Before I'm giving Joe Rogan any brownie points for correctly seeing what the rest of us are seeing, I would like to see Mr. Joe Rogan, Mr. Broadcast. I would like to see him step up and be more forceful and more deliberate with his criticism of this administration directly. You had the guy on your program. You helped polish his shoes and you helped legitimize him. Now call him out. Call him out directly. Hold him accountable, because the Republicans in Congress are too chicken shit to stand up and say, look, you got to get ICE the fuck out of Minnesota. When were we hearing any incidents of people being dragged out of their homes? Little kids like 5-year-old Liam Ramos being taken away from his home and transported across state lines to Texas. When have you ever heard that before ICE entered Minneapolis and directly started antagonizing and provoking Minneapolis residents deliberately? There's a way that, police are trained to de-escalate. ICE is doing the opposite, and they are escalating every chance they get. To what purpose? What is your goal? Are you really trying to get the worst of the worst? Because last time I checked, this guy, Alex Pretti is not a threat. He's not the worst of the worst. Alex Pretti was a 37-year-old nurse, and I believe it was, let me check, 37-year-old U.S. citizen born in Illinois. Pretti was a 2006 graduate of Preble High School in Green Bay, Wisconsin, attended the University of Minnesota, and held an active nursing license issued in 2021. Pretti worked as an intensive care nurse at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs Hospital in Minneapolis. According to local officials, Pretti was a lawful gun owner and had a Minnesota concealed carry permit. Law enforcement reported that he had no serious criminal history. Record searches turned up traffic tickets. That's your worst of the worst, MAGA. You make me sick. You absolutely disgust me. Disgusted. Here, you care so much about people taking your guns, so that you could defend against a tyrannical government. Here's your chance, huh? Here's your chance. Defend. Trumpers defend a kid like Kyle Rittenhouse with an AR-15 going to another state to shoot, but freak out about a U.S. citizen, Alex Pretti, with a concealed carry permit who never fired a shot before ICE agents pepper sprayed. They disarmed him, pepper sprayed, and killed him. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And that's not the only issue I have with this whole scenario. You ever notice how the Second Amendment phonies only defend the right to bear arms against a tyrannical government when there's a black president in office, or when classrooms full of innocent children get shot down? You ever notice that? Because right after every mass shooting, here come the Second Amendment bots or whatever they are. Here they come saying, we got the right to bear arms. They're the tyrannical government. And now they're all about, Daddy, please tread harder. Please tread on me harder. I'm sick of the hypocrisy. I'm sick of the lies, and I'm sick of the gaslighting. Pick a fucking lane, you jackasses, you fucking cowards. You should be disgusted. You should look at yourself in the mirror and say, I can't believe that's my reflection. You care so much about the Second Amendment, and you're mad at a guy who was a fellow Second Amendment dude. They took his gun. Who? State, local? No, the fucking federal government took his gun. Wake up. And look, I'm not a Second Amendment guy. Frankly, I'd be happy to see all assault weapons taken away. I feel like maybe that might make us safer. But on the other hand, I look at what's happening. Look, I go back to this. Whenever they would say, oh, we need our guns to oppose a tyrannical government, I'm like, cool story, bro. What are you going to do when they roll in with the tanks? What are you going to do when they call in drone strikes? And would that not happen? It shouldn't happen, but neither should a president threatening states with troops, with armed troops. That would never happen before. Look, President Obama was known as the deporter in chief, which our side, a lot of people, a lot of Democrats and progressives were pissed off with Obama because of how many deportations he made. Blue Lady, thank you so much for the donation. They were pissed off with him. They called him the deporter in chief, but guess what? He somehow managed to do that without having a soccer mom shot in the face 3 times, without having a cute little kid taken away from his parents or used as bait to try to, and they think they're clever. They think they're very cool and clever with their stories about how, oh no, we're just trying to give the kid back, and they didn't want to take possession of the child. Really, come on. You're holding the threat of ripping them out of their homes if they don't open the door for you. That's what the story was. They're like, open the door. By the way, this kid is here. Open the door. Or if you want this kid, open the door and let us take you down to detention center in a different state. Then you could have your kid. Come on. You think we're stupid? these games are are annoying. They are frustrating. And here's what I see happening now. They have ramped up the atrocities. They have ramped up the outrage, right? What's worse, in 1 week, we've seen an old man dragged out in sub-zero temperatures. Saw that. We saw this kid taken from his parents. We saw this guy here, Alex Pretti, just defending his fellow man. We saw him gunned down in broad daylight. So, what's the next natural response? Escalation. I got to hand it to you Minnesotans out there, man. You guys are made of different stuff. I applaud you. I applaud you for holding it together. I applaud you for tamping down any attempts at violence, at rioting. I applaud you for that, because, man, if you guys got mad, I'd understand. I'm furious. I don't even live in Minnesota. I'm furious. But do not give them the reason. They are obviously ramping up aggressiveness, ICE, I mean, probably under orders from Donald Trump, because he wants badly to unpack his insurrection act. He wants it so badly he can taste it. Don't give it to him. Don't give it to him. Let's see, what else do we have here? Here's another picture showing Alex Pretti clearly holding a phone in front of him. Again, not brandishing a weapon. There he is being descended upon. There's, on the right, there's that agent who disarmed him, took his gun. And on the left, there's an arrow. There's several eagle-eyed observers who noted that Alex Pretti's hands were covering his eyes when he was in this scrum here. There's no way he could have been holding a gun or anything. And pretty sure he can't hold a gun that was confiscated from him. Yeah, here's the picture right here on the right. You see the yellow circle around his hands right there? Those are his hands right there. So, what are we going to do, folks? Huh? We have to remain vigilant, and we have to be sensible. I think thus far, the thing that has helped us out the most is that there have been many, many people with their phones out. Why has this helped? Because these phones, as you're recording, are saving lives. They are recording the actual truth of the events. Because without these phones, Kristi, Noem, and Greg Bovino and whoever can say whatever the hell they want you to believe. And we'd be forced to believe it because there wouldn't be video record of it. So the more phones out, the better. Don't let them intimidate you and say, oh, you're breaking the law. You're not breaking the law. It is within your right to do so long as you're supposedly not impeding their investigations, whatever. I see an interesting comment here from possibly a white nationalist. I'm going to put it up here for a purpose here. He says, white lives matter. Y'all, oh, where are you guys? The last two people the government has killed have been white. They're white people. White lives matter. And you're quiet as church mice when two white people get murdered unarmed. You don't really mean that white lives matter. You mean billionaire lives matter, huh? You bootlickers, you pathetic pieces of shit. Cucks, you beta cucks. Disgusting. You disgust me. A lot of you. Here, another smooth brain comment from this motionable white boy says Obama was also drone striker on civilians in chief. Yeah, okay. Now do the 8 different countries that Trump has bombed. 8. He likes to talk about he says he ended 8 wars with a straight look on his face. Not one reporter has bothered to ask him, Mr. President, which 8 wars would that be? Get that liar on record, because he couldn't tell you. He could say he's pulling this out of his ass. I ended 8 wars. No, you didn't. You bombed 8 countries. So anyway, Sharon saying, thank goodness the Easter Bunny is white. Hey, yo, Easter Bunny, watch yourself. Watch your 6. Goodness gracious. Anyway, I wanted to pop on here. I'm not doing a full hour or anything. I just wanted to pop on here with you guys because I know watching this shit unfold is stressful as hell. And I feel like, sometimes when we're all separately dealing with this, it feels like, we're dealing with it by ourselves. And, whether you live in Minneapolis or not is irrelevant, because it is happening in our country. This is our country. Whether an atrocity happens in Minneapolis or it happens in Los Angeles or in Tennessee or Maine. I think ICE agents are up in Maine now for some reason. What? No matter where in America it happens, it is happening to you because this is your country. Huh? We have not abdicated this country to a dictator, to a wannabe dictator, to a king, none of that shit. And thank you, Lucy, for pointing out. Shame on SCOTUS for giving Donald Trump the illusion of absolute immunity or absolute power, because really he's on a power trip right now. That is why he's doing half of the crazy shit that he's doing right now, because Congress isn't checking him. They're not backing him up as they're supposed to do, as they are constitutionally required to do. Their purpose is to be a check and balance against a tyrannical president. They're absent. And I'm not talking about Democrats. Democrats kind of have their hands tied. They're limited in what Democrats can do. Right now, what I need to see is Democrats strategizing how they're going to take these events and galvanize not just our own base, our own troop, but galvanize the rest of Americans, the people who are like, I wanted to get rid of criminal immigrants, but I didn't want this. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot more than you realize. There's people out there who voted to remove violent criminals. They didn't vote to have a beautiful 5-year-old kid kidnapped by ICE. They didn't vote for, this 37-year-old dude who's like a nurse for the VA to be murdered. They didn't vote for that. They didn't vote for a disabled woman on her way to her doctor's appointment to be violently dragged out by cops or ICE agents. Come on. This is outrageous. And if my party, if the Democratic Party was responsible for this, I would be just as mad. Even worse, I would be madder, because I know Democrats are above this type of shit. Yeah. So, Trump Reaper said 5 years old is just a baby. I can't even imagine what that poor kid is going to have to deal with for the rest of his life. How is it, like, where's his trust factor in the government going to be? What kind of argument do you have for law and order, right? If you are wreaking havoc and chaos against people who were living their lives peacefully until you showed up. You're killing their neighbors, you're killing their friends, their relatives, or whatever, and then you're feeding them lies. There's not even any accountability. They have, by the way, all those ICE agents, they have body cameras. They have them. They're just not using them. They've been given those body cameras. They are not using them. Let that sink in for a minute. They are deliberately obfuscating the investigation into Renee Good's killing. They took that car that had all the evidence and they transported it out of the state. They put it on a flatbed truck. They left the windows wide open, so any biological evidence that's in there, gone. Gone. Since when have you ever heard of that happening? You guys watch the same movies I do, I'm sure. Hey, stay. This is my crime scene. Stay out. They have the crime tape all up. They specifically have people posted to prevent someone from spitting or dropping a cigarette, but they want that crime scene pristine. Not so in this case. They're completely obfuscating all that. And where's that gun? Where's the gun that dude confiscated? Some guy named Buford, picked it up off of Alex Pretti and took it somewhere. Where's the chain of evidence on that? This whole thing is a complete clusterfuck. It's a complete clusterfuck. And the only answer right now is for ICE to leave Minnesota. And frankly, in my opinion, everyone that's in ICE right now, purge the whole department and start over from scratch. Because these guys have been trained poorly, if at all. Poorly trained, if at all. Half of them have anger issues. I bet you at least half of them have convictions for beating their wife or girlfriend. This is an excellent question here from James. Dear US. Says, why aren't the police at the very least observing this situation? I saw, and I'm sorry, I don't have article evidence to provide you with, but Tim Waltz was asked about this, and this is very sad, but he said that after an internal investigation, which I guess they kept hush hush, but internal interviews with members of not only the police department, but even the Minnesota National Guard, there was a feeling that too high a percentage of people in the Minnesota police and the Minnesota National Guard would be on the side of ICE, that they would. So therefore, they're kind of not trustworthy. There's a lot of people who called in sick instead of going in to work to help with, because there are Minnesota residents that are calling in these incidents with ICE, and it's a high number of cops that just aren't responding to it. And that's sad. That's really sad. Like, you are letting your own citizens down. That is a really sad statement, that you would let somebody come into your home, your state, and fuck shit up. It's awful. Anyway, do you guys have any questions for me? Anybody, are there any doubting Thomases out there who have seen the multiple angles of this shooting and have another theory? Is there anyone who really, really has looked at these videos and thinks, you know what? Actually, that phone looks like a gun. Anybody there who believes that? I'm just curious. I will shame you too. I will publicly shame you. Juju Dreaming says she has a question. Let's hear it. Let's see. Can you respond to my question above? Let's see. Where is your question? I see a bunch of other people responding to your question. Oh, okay. Here we go. I think this is it. Juju Dreaming says, I'm from Mexico, from the outside looking in. What's wrong with ICE? Are they not removing people who illegally entered the country? I think that's a crime in your country. What's all the fighting about? Not sure I understand your question, because yeah, they are. Are they not removing people who illegally entered the country? Okay, so they are doing that, right? But in the process, they are hurting a whole lot of citizens, a lot of residents. They're trampling on a lot of rights. And here in America, one thing that makes us great, should I put quote air quotes on great now? One thing that makes us great is our Constitution and the rights that that Constitution affords us. The rights against improper search and seizure, the rights against, you know, a tyrannical government telling us to not talk about certain things. We have the First Amendment right. We have the right to bear arms and all that shit. You guys know. Well, one of those rights is when they try to take somebody, they have due process. So they have to have a warrant to do so. And you have guys like Stephen Miller complaining and saying, if they were going to do that, we'd need 1,000,000 days to make it happen. Well, sorry, there's a reason why we have, laws and procedures and policies all in place. Because without that, we have mayhem. Without that, we have what's happening in Minneapolis right now. We have chaos. And, if you're all about law and order and not crime and chaos, then you need to get these ICE agents out of Minneapolis, out of Minnesota, and either retrain them properly. Some of these guys got no training at all, or get them the hell out. Juju Dreaming, I don't know if I answered your question. I did the best I could. All right, she says, thank you for your insight. Hearing my end, thank you. Here's Lisa saying ICE is also detaining people who have not finalized legal process, but following all the steps. It's like changing the rules midstream. Lisa, thank you. That is such an astute observation, because that has everything to do with what happened with Liam Ramos's parents. Liam Ramos's family came over here in December of 2024 under the asylum process, right? They legally applied for asylum. They were granted the right to go through that process. And so they've been making all of their appointments and doing what they're supposed to do. But ICE has been showing up at court where people are following the process. They're like, you have so many Trumpers who are like, yeah, I don't care if you're here legally. If you follow the right process, you actually don't care, because there have been so many people who are apprehended at the court doing what they're supposed to do. And you guys are like, that's what I voted for. Really? So you just don't like brown and black people, huh? It bothered you so much that somebody set up a touch tone thing where it says, press 1 for English. That really irritated you, huh? When you see Jose and Maria at the gas station and they're having a conversation in private in Spanish, you're angry because you can't eavesdrop on them. You wish they would just speak English, huh? And if that's enough to throw you into a frenzy where you want to get rid of all the people who are doing construction and baking and doing housekeeping and doing hotel work and lots of other really super helpful things, you just want to get rid of them, huh? It's not about, crime anymore. Come on, it's not about Lock and Riley. Get honest, get real. You're like, what about Lock and Riley? Yeah, you know what? It was a tragedy. It's a tragedy also that you used Lock and Riley in some kind of disingenuous, bad faith argument for throwing out anybody who speaks a different language and who has a browner skin complexion than you. Because a lot of the people, 73% of the people apprehended by ICE have no criminal record. So, what are we doing here? Huh? You cared about law and order. Well, they're throwing out a whole lot of people who were lawful, a whole lot of people who were going through the court process, a lot of people who were even paying taxes. There's a huge number of undocumented immigrants who pay taxes that they will never actually benefit from. Did you know that? Billions and billions of dollars of taxes collected from undocumented immigrants, and they will never reap the benefits of those because, our immigration process, our immigration system is screwed up. It's royally screwed up. And what we've needed for a long time is comprehensive immigration reform. That means Democrats and Republicans getting together in a room for days, weeks, months, whatever, however long it takes to hammer out fixes to all the loopholes in the system and all the bottlenecks in the system that delay people from having a reasonably smooth, transition to being legal citizens here. Every time Democrats have come up and saying, hey, let's do comprehensive immigration reform, they're like, nah, I don't feel like it. So now we have the chaos that's here. Now we have immigration is only used as a wedge issue where they use immigration to gin up fear in their rural base, in the people who almost never deal with people who speak a different language and have a different color skin. You've seen those videos of so-called Karens who get into a tizzy with somebody in the parking lot because they're speaking a different language. Go back to your country. Those people, that's the base. That's the Republican base that they are catering to right now. And it's a shrinking base. There's more and more people who speak Spanish, who speak a different language, who have brown skin, who might vote Republican, who might, if you stop antagonizing them, if you stop telling people that they don't have as much a right to be here as white people. Think about it. Instead of coming up with all these policies to disenfranchise people of color and, and LGBTQ people, come up with some policies that hook a brother up. Hook a hermano up. Ooh, another good point from Lucy. We are all illegal here. I hate that word, illegal. I know you didn't mean it in that sense, Lucy, but yeah, if you're not a Native American, come on, have a seat. Ooh, look at Kim Carolina. By the way, folks, if this is your first time here, I am Majid, aka Brooklyn Dad Defined, aka BDD. I used to have a show called Storytime with BDD. It is now The Defiant Weekly. I hope you will go to my YouTube page and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button if you're watching, if you're restreaming this on YouTube, whatever. I have content like this every week and sometimes on a Saturday when shit pops off. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. I should have said that earlier, but I forget sometimes. Kim Carolina says, our Social Security is solvent because of immigrants. They work hard, pay taxes. I don't know what this means. Are a great part of our country. That's what makes America great, for real. Beautiful comment, Kim. Thank you so much for that. Oops. She says she's followed me for years. Thank you, Kim. That's cool. All right. So, Valerie G, that upsets me. English was my dad's second language. And so many, there are so many people who have made awesome, incredible contributions to our society, our American society. It is literally, when I was growing up, it was the thing that I was most proud of about America. When I first learned, I was little. I was probably 8 or 9 years old when I learned that America was a melting pot, and I learned that in school, in elementary school. And it was like, wow, because even my class, I was in public school, and up in Washington Heights, Inwood. For those of you who are from Inwood, shout out to you guys. I went to PS 152, and my classroom was representative of diversity. We had a guy whose name was Quentin, and he had cowboy boots, and he had stringy blonde hair and had a country accent. This guy Quentin was one of my classmates. We had people from the Philippines, and we had Asian people, and we had Latinos, and everybody. The whole nation was represented by my school and by my classrooms, and it's beautiful. And I love America for its diversity. I really think it makes us above and beyond, like a beautiful, wonderful place. And I will fight until I have no breath left in me to preserve that about America. I believe in it. I believe that the American dream is that it is achievable. It is attainable to anyone, regardless of your background or your color. And I see that all the time. There's this girl, I think she's a creator on TikTok. She goes by the name, I think, Romeo's something. She's Black, and she is overweight. And she came up with these jingles for Dr. Pepper and for that cocoa water, Viva Coco or something, like coconut water, and for Hyundai. They've made deals with her, like worth so much money. And what is she, like 20, 21 years old? And she just kaboom! I'm paid now. That's awesome. I love that. This is the land of opportunity. And why should it be limited to just a small number of people? Let everybody have a shot at it, for crying out loud. Anyway, coconut water, yuck. Yeah, some people love coconut water. My wife loves coconut water. Anyway, you guys, and Lisa, thank you so much for posting this in the chat here. This is on Twitter. So Lisa, thank you for posting that link to sub to BDD's YouTube channel. This is awesome, at Brooklyn Dad Defiant. Yeah, if you go to YouTube and just type in Brooklyn Dad Defiant, my channel should pop up, and subscribe. I have some good stuff to discuss. And if you show up to my lives, I do a live every week, even if you're a MAGA, as long as your comment is not crazy, off the wall, batshit, disrespectful for whatever, I will engage with you. I will. Ask anyone in the chat here. They'll tell you, yeah, BDD will serve you up. I'm not making any promises to not disrespect you, but I will by all means try my hardest to give you a straightforward, honest answer to your question. And let's see. I think that's about all I had to say today. I spent more time than I planned on doing. I still haven't had dinner yet, so I'm gonna have some dinner. BDD, will you do some collab videos like Really American is doing? I believe so. I would love to. I would love to. I have a lot of difficulty scheduling guests for the show, because it's like you have to either DM or message somebody and they don't get back to you right away. So I continue to do the things I got to do during the day, blah, blah, blah. And it's a lot of running around. It's busy work that I don't have the time or patience for. And I do this show by myself. So, but yeah, shorter answer is I do plan on having a collaboration. This Wednesday, I will be joined by none other than Brian Shapiro of the show Pushing the Limits. That dude is fiery. I love his content, and I can't wait to have him here on the show. So, folks, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope we have some relative peace in Minnesota and Minneapolis, and my thoughts and prayers go out to you folks there. I am so incredibly proud of how you guys have held things together and how you showed up for your fellow man. That's what America's about. Right about now, Minnesota, Minneapolis, you guys are representing what is the best in America. And I love that for you guys. I love that for us. And for the rest of you guys, I look forward to seeing you Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. I love you all. Peace. Incredible person, incredible human being. Yes, famous. Yes.